in the podcast.
When you're talking about the role.
Yeah,
frustrating. Yeah. All right.
Let's roll.
Yeah, it gets really frustrating because
So
there's someone.
hi, welcome to Binge Buddies, the fate we make. Now I have to leave a whole bunch of that in just so people can hear me step all over Matt so we can get started.
I love it.
Me, your host, is always Bryan Dressel. With me, as always, since I'm already talking about him, we have Matt, Zombie Dog, Helper, Dykes.
Oh yeah.
You were still thinking I was joking, weren't you? And I was going to give you some horrible robot you didn't like.
I mean, I was sort of thinking that you were going to say like RoboCop or something. I was trying to think what robot would I be really annoyed at being so far down a list of, and I was like, RoboCop would be a pretty annoying one. But then is RoboCop a robot really?
But Helper definitely is. But
yes, Helper definitely is.
Helper being in the mid-20s, he should be a top 10. He's one of the. He's loyal. He's versatile.
Yeah. Unless J-Bot is higher up, because Helper's just all sorts of jealous of J-Bot because J-Bot has legs.
It's true.
I love Ryan and Joel are just like,
who the fuck is Helper?
Yeah,
what's J-Bot? What are these people talking about?
They're on a show that started as a Venture Brothers show, and they don't get Venture Brothers references. I'm just hurt over here. But we also have Joel Clank DeWitte.
Ratchet and Clank?
That's the one.
Hey, I know. All right. But that's what makes this fresh, Brian, is that I know jack shit about most movies, and then I get reintroduced to this stuff. So
that's true. But you got the Clank reference right away, so at least there's that.
I did. I got one.
Well, isn't that a game though?
That's true. It's more in Joel's wheelhouse. There is a movie.
It's in his repertoire.
A game I've never played, but yeah.
How have you never played that? You have a PS5. You should play. What the fuck is it called?
Rift
Apart. Yes, Rift Apart. Yes, Rift Apart. It took me so long to get the fart joke there. I had no idea.
That whole series has a history of really juvenile humor. But they know it, so it works.
Yeah, but
it's like Abe's Odyssey, like playing the original Abe's Odyssey. You could just make him fart.
Oh yeah,
and it's like, and you stand next to someone, and you just go, and they go. Hee.
I mean, how else do you use your telekinesis powers? He has telekinesis powers.
I
think.
It's like, come with me, okay, and then like you walk across and jump over something. The person just walked, just. Ah!
I do like the Lemmings nature of it. It's fun.
Yeah, that's Lemmings is why I think I stopped playing it, because I can't handle the stress. These things are relying on me for life. We also have, I can't believe this is on this list. I'm on a list of the greatest pop culture robots, and of course is on here. Ryan's technically 2 this week. We have Ryan Daft Punk Lootens.
I mean, I got the Tron music going for me, so that's good.
Sure.
How the hell are humans on this list? They wear things that make them look like robots, and they
is it maybe supposed to be the Daft Punk robot in the music video? Is it a stronger, faster music video that has the robot?
No,
I thought that one had a cartoon music video.
No, maybe it does.
This is very blatantly talking about the 2 dudes from Daft Punk. But they did beat out Helper by 2 spots. Helper's 29, and then
welcome.
Daft Punk's 27.
They're not even robots. Fuck that list.
Yeah, fuck you, Paste Magazine. Never heard of you before today. Now I hate you. All right,
unsubscribe.
Yeah, do you think they actually have like an actual magazine? Is that still? Does anyone have real magazines anymore?
I see them in shops.
That you speak of.
Yeah, like I know there's still a Rolling Stone because someone signed me up for it. Still don't know who, but I was getting that for like 3 years. I never paid for it, but I got it for a long time.
They have to still be a thing because my nephew's fundraiser was one of those catalogs of magazines that you pay like $20 for a year prescription of.
Prescription.
What subscription? Yeah.
Whoa!
It is not a medical product.
What is your nephew running here?
Prescription magazines.
His last name's White, which I found a little weird.
Is his first name Walter?
No, but I suppose he could change his name if it came to that.
It would be hard to do.
Speaking of magazines, like really random off the like, I was walking past a news agents in Newcastle last night, or maybe the night before, and saw they were selling like literally like porn magazines. I was thinking, does anyone buy these anymore? Like, you literally can have videos on your phone for free. Like, who's buying still image porn mags?
How many did you buy?
Who besides me is buying these porn mags?
Shouting at the cashier.
Who
besides me is buying these?
Some people prefer analog over digital.
That's it.
It's the record thing.
And holds up one of the magazines, just flipping through it.
Yeah, YouPorn's kind of ruined me in that way, because like it has to be moving image now. Still image just doesn't work.
Great. Anyhow, let's all right, so here we are this week, literally using that as a transition over to Terminator Genisys, which, having this random grab bag fuckery of a conversation to open this episode, is rather fitting, as a matter of fact, as this movie is kind of a random grab bag fuckery. I gotta say, I remember enjoying this in theaters and then walking away, and just as I walked away going, oh, that was dumb. Oh, that was dumb too. Maybe I didn't like it. And then I haven't really watched it since. And then watching it for this, I'm like, nah, I was right. I like it. This is a great movie. It is dumb as shit, but I really like it. And then the few things that work in it do actually work really well. And there are some really good ideas in here executed okay. But first and foremost, I feel like I got to pour one out for poor Alan Taylor, who just happened to put himself on like every franchise where he's going to have so much studio interference. He looks like the worst director. But you go back to Game of Thrones, he was a solid director. You don't just judge him off Terminator Genisys and Thor: The Dark World. He's better than that. I believe in him. I'm not sure if I should, but I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. How about you guys? Where did you guys land on the genesis of it all?
I'm largely where you're at. I think it's a little messy in terms of plot and structure. I think there's some really great moments, and overall, I found it a fun movie to watch. It's not a cinematic masterpiece, but you're gonna get a couple hours of fun out of it.
Yeah,
I always enjoyed it. I always enjoyed Genesis. I liked the going back into the first film and then that sort of multiverse element to it, where it's like, oh, it's kind of explaining how the time travel works in it, not so much explaining it outright, but giving like more of an idea of like how it even happens. So like when they go back in time, they're basically creating a new timeline and things like that. And I like that. I like the sort of how they played with that as well. And I thought Emilia Clarke was fantastic as Sarah Connor. I think she's really good as that kind of young but more. It's like the Terminator age of Sarah Connor, but more gearing towards Terminator 2 Sarah Connor, in the fact that she's a bit more tough as it was, and but she's still young at the end of the day. You know, she's supposed to be like 19 or 20 or something at this point. And I liked Pops. I think he's great.
Yeah, I love Pops.
It's like the smile stuff is fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Like, I don't want to spoil too much, but when we get to the wrap-up episode, we are going to be ranking the Terminators. This guy's going to be high up my list.
Yeah,
he's fun. Like, this is Arnold actually doing something different. We'll talk about it in a minute. I want to get Ryan's take first, but he's fun.
For me, it's
we found the one who didn't like it.
and that's where Ryan goes, just move on.
I can see the movie in two different lights. As a Terminator fan, it is entertaining. It does what it sets out to do. It's fine. It's fine in that realm. As an actual, person who watches movies and breaks movies down, this movie's a piece of shit. But that's beside the point. But as a fanboy, I can sit and I can watch it and I can enjoy it. Anything with Emilia Clarke in this type of role is really good. Arnold, like you said, he really leaned into this, I think, more so this one, which is perfect for him. But there are things in this movie that do not work. But overall, if you're just watching this movie to be entertained, it's fine. It's good. It's a joyride. But to me, after Terminator Salvation, and they saw how bad Warner Brothers, like, oh shit, we may have fucked up.
Our bad.
They have twice now trying to reset the timeline, and twice now tried to make things different. And I think they've kind of struck out on both.
Yeah.
Because it is what it is. But that's the critic side of me. As a joyride, there's a lot of great sequences that work. You know, the Golden Gate Bridge scene is fun. When they go to Genisys, that's fun. The helicopter scene, that's fun. Revealing who your enemy is in the trailer, not fun. And that's kind of what I think. That's what I think spoiled it for me from the get-go. And we can talk about that as we go.
Well, actually,
that was the thing. We were in
that's a good place to
period.
start, honestly. Like,
yeah, because it was that period around, was it 2015 when this came out? It was around the time, that was the period of, you know, the Thor Ragnarok trailer. Yeah, the Thor Ragnarok trailer spoiling the fact that the Hulk was in it. And, you know, all these things that when you watch the film, it's like, oh, you were building up for that to be a surprise. But I knew that was going to happen because I've seen the trailer. Thanks, trailer, you fucker.
And this one, it was even on the poster, because like I remember this was during my phase of I do not watch trailers at all, full stop. Like I will show up to a movie 20 minutes late to make sure I miss it, and if I'm not 20 minutes late, I will stand outside the theater and wait for the trailers to be done. Like I do not watch them. And I was at the AMC in Burbank, and I was standing outside my theater like a jackass, just like I'm waiting for my movie to start, don't want any trailers. And I look across the hallway and I see the poster for Genisys. I'm like, oh, I'm excited for that. Why is John Connor a robot? Why is John Connor a robot in the poster? What the fuck? And I was so upset.
And my thing too is you have someone that's not on the poster that is equally as good in Matt Smith, or Matthew as he's billed. Lean into him more, people. Don't put him on the sideline. And they did. And I don't think that works. But
no, I mean, and I had read the interviews with Alan Taylor. He had a whole plot for Matt Smith in the next movie. Like this was all supposed to build to Matt
trilogy,
Smith being,
I think.
Yeah, it was a whole trilogy, and Matt Smith was supposed to be the ultimate bad guy over all of it, and then it just fell apart instantly, which is a bummer. But I'm always sad whenever you don't get to use Matt Smith because he's fucking awesome.
And he was great in his scenes.
He was
the scenery. He was maniacal. I mean, he was the perfect villain. Even as a hologram, he was great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he made
as it sort of escalates, right? It starts as a child and as it gets older and older and older, and then by the time it's actually Matt Smith, it's just like, oh, you are just evil, aren't you?
Right.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, he was evil as a child too. He sucked in Mass Effect.
Yeah, that was just like I did see that. I was thinking, oh great, another evil child AI.
Someone shoot that kid.
Wait, when did Mass Effect 3 come out?
Before this, I think.
Was it around the same time though? Because like there seems to be a thing with like evil child AIs in the sort of mid 2010s.
I mean, early 2000s too. Remember Resident Evil?
Well, that was the end. Yeah, so 2012, 2015. But the the first Resident Evil, it was a child, wasn't it? The AI and the thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I've forgotten that we found out that early as well.
Yeah. Nuts.
Glad I don't have any kids because they just seem like they're just becoming evil.
I mean, they are, but you get over it. It's fine.
As long as they don't kill you, that's fine.
Time will tell.
No, they kill you. It's just a lot slower than they might harm people outside the family.
I mean, I do look at photos just 4 years ago, and it's like, wow, my beard was entirely red, and now it's like mostly gray. It's like, huh?
Yep.
Thanks, kids.
Fun.
Anyhow, so this movie, so it came out in 2015, I want to say, and it did horrible, like horrible. Like this movie was just panned immediately. Everyone hated it. People made fun of me for going to see it, and watching it now, I'm like, okay, I can see where like those hits are coming from, especially like there's some real bonehead ideas in here. Like the bus chase that Ryan mentioned is really fun. But why are they taking a bus?
Yeah.
They ran through a parking lot.
Field trip.
Yeah, but they ran through a parking lot, and they're like, bus. That we have this killer robot from the future chasing us down. Bus.
Buses are fast, right? It's a bus
Especially
by
school
Ferrari.
buses.
And he grabs a motorcycle. He grabs a Harley.
Yeah, he made the right call.
I mean, is it me? Like we don't really see it really closely, but isn't that the same Harley that Arnie rides in T2? It looks like it.
It
looks
did,
like...
but I don't know if there's just like a happy nod or if it's actually supposed to be the same thing. I don't know where they landed on fan service because they didn't really hit the stuff very hard.
They hit some of it, like the shot with the trainers in the photo booth.
Yeah, that one, and then the Sarah Connor "Come With Me, You Want to Live." Like that's a really they make sure that one's good, and that one was good. That was a great moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But otherwise, like once the movie kind of here's a better way to frame this conversation. When my wife and I saw it, we felt that the beginning of the movie, when it's trying to like recreate part 1 and part 2 kind of at the same time. So like Kyle comes back and he lands in the past, and the past is different than what he expected because they've kept fucking with the future. So now things are different. And that part is all good. It's fun, it's entertaining, but it's just nothing but fan service and just constant fan service. And then once the movie kind of jumps forward in time and they go to 2017, suddenly it feels a little bit more like its own thing. And that's when I started enjoying it more. Like when it was willing to be its own thing and kind of do fun things and not just be a recreation of the other movies, I thought it was a better movie. But that takes like 45 minutes out of 2 hours to get there. So
I kind of feel like because they were building this up to be, it was originally going to be a trilogy.
Yeah,
you kind of need to have that setup of, right, we're resetting the timeline here. Mm-hmm. So I think you need that. And I think while yes, it does take up a lot of the running time of this one film, I think if you do it much quicker and cut it down, it just feels then very choppy and
sure,
sort of like speeding through it a bit. I think what they were doing with that, and they did quite a good job with it, is they are dealing with the first Terminator. That's like taking, like, you know, okay, we've changed that's dealt with. They're setting up the T-1000 has been back, and then you get Sarah's story about that further on in the film, which is quite good. And then they're also setting up that Kyle is having these sort of like these parallel memories, and we then get into, right, okay, no, we have to go, it's not 1997, it's 2017 we need to go to. And I think if you do that any quicker, it's just going to feel very rushed.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I like they took their time to sort of like let the characters kind of not so much breathe, but like evolve, and like and that sort of like realization. It wasn't just like, oh, we need to go to 2017 because I've just thought of this. And you actually, there's like visual cues on that. And then, you know, you've got the realization from Kyle that, oh, yeah, this is different. This is not what I was expecting. I need to pay attention to those weird memories that were not memories.
Yeah,
I'm kind of...
Go ahead, Joel.
I'm kind of two minds about it. I do agree with you, Matt, that the setup and sort of starting as this melding of 1 and 2's intro, it's a good grounding for where they want to take the movie, because it sounds and feels familiar after having Salvation, which was basically like a modern day war claiming to be a future war. And then having it soon enough within that movie have Sarah Connor with the, you know, come with me if you want to live, them sort of info dumping what happened. And then once you get off to that, it is, you know, much more palatable. I do agree Tear Zone too long.
So, so I think this is where issues start to take place, is because the attempt and what they did was fine. What you're doing though is you're trying to bring back all these different fan things to show that it's a Terminator movie. But in the end, you make a formidable enemy like the T-1000 into a gimmick. I mean, he is very quick to kill. You know, he's not formidable. And it's like, okay, so you're kind of trashing on the other movies to kind of shoehorn all this stuff in to appease some people and make it feel like a Terminator movie. But to the other person, you can just take it for what it is, enjoy the callbacks, and be like, okay, I'm enjoying it. That's why I called it like a double-edged sword.
Yeah. So I don't have a lot of experience with this, but it's kind of the anime problem where, like, after every iteration of a show, everything needs to be escalated in potential danger that makes other things obsolete by comparison. And they've referenced that in earlier movies. It's just, like you said, they just sort of throw them away instead of giving them some form of like substantive danger in the things.
Yeah. I see what you're saying as well, Ryan, with like making the T-1000 into a quote unquote gimmick. But I also think they've had 10 years to plan this. They know what's going to happen at this point. So with the T-1000, like, you know, it's the old Batman thing. Oh, well, Batman can beat everyone as long as he's got time enough to plan. Well, yeah, he does. Anyone can beat anything as long as they've got the time to plan. And I think that's where it comes in with, like, okay, we need to melt the T-1000, right? What's the best way of doing that? Well, let's lure them into this thing, get a load of acid and just pour it onto it. I think that's where, like, it. Yeah,
that's where the biggest plot hole is, though, because yes, they can plan, right? Because the T-1000 came after Sarah's dad, and that's how Pops became Pops, but we still don't know why. And we get that with Genisys, but if you're gonna change the timeline, do it in a way that is going to, how do I want to say, that's going to drive the story more, and just saying, oh, here are these things, so we can make our fans feel happy.
Yeah, and it feels like they had an idea for that. It just didn't fully land.
Right.
And
well, I think the problem with it is, again, because it's this idea of, like, we're going to have a trilogy and we're going to tell the rest of this story, because there's the whole thing, like, who sent Pops back? And it's kind of like, oh, we don't know, but we'll find out in the sequel.
Right.
Oh, wait. There's no sequel.
Yeah.
And I think that's, again, where the T-1000 will have come into it. Is like, you know, where did this come from? I think it's that problem when you go in sort of going, right, we're going to do this as a trilogy, but you don't have. I mean, they even had it confirmed that they were going to get a trilogy, but then because it did so poorly, it's like, no.
They did their best to try to make the T-1000 worth it, which he was in essence, but you just feel like it's wasted. Like,
I still don't like him. I don't like that he can. I hate that. I hate the arm chop and chuck. Like,
it's like, let's try to do this.
The arms they look weird as well.
Yeah.
So, like, when Robert Patrick's doing it, the knife arms,
they were like short.
Yeah, they were like, the knife arms seemed like really long and imposing with Robert Patrick, but with that, it felt
so they
T-Rex. Like, they looked like a T-Rex.
Sure.
Like,
I'm gonna dice you.
Just come here
real close
of me. But with the T-1000 in Terminator 2, it's like, oh shit, he's got some serious reach. But it's like, has he already chopped off half his hands? Because it's like his knife arms are shorter than his regular arms,
and yet he can make long spears. So, like I said, they shoehorn him in when they could have. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what the right answer would have been. Like, I definitely, I know if this movie came out today, that would have been Robert Patrick. Like, they would have made that happen. And I'm not sure if that would have been a good idea or a bad idea. You just kind of have this very odd first third, almost half of the movie that, like, it both works, and it just kind of feels like a fan service victory lap. And I agree with Matt. I wish there was a trilogy, so this didn't feel like it was just such a front-loaded thing. Because I think if there was more room on the back end of this, we might feel differently. But there's just no way to feel that way. All that said,
it would basically be like, you know, Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring. They shot that one, then released it, and it did really poorly, and you never get anything else after that. That's kind of,
but
you know, but it's like what they should have done is at least shot the first two back to back, so at least, we released the first one, it's not done very well, we may as well release the second one straight to DVD or whatever because we've got it.
Beyond the quality of
sort of thing.
Beyond the quality of the films for Lord of the Rings, though, they shot those all at the same time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
so that sort of continuity, you need to take a big gamble, and I wish I saw the world where Terminator took that big gamble, but it also
never gonna happen.
Surprise me.
I mean, they did that with Superman 1 and Superman 2, the original Christopher Reeve films, like, you know, and then they ended up like reshooting most of Superman 2 with a different director for some bizarre reason. And let's not get into that. We'll talk about that on
to throw
a
a cellophane S at somebody. It saved the movie.
We'll talk about the Superman films on the whenever we do a Superman series, which I'm thinking now that will be quite an interesting one to do. Because
tell me more. I'd love to talk Quest for Peace.
That's the thing. That would be the funny thing, wouldn't it? It'd be like, oh, let's have a look at how great they start and how really quickly they go downhill.
They really do.
Richard Pryor skiing off of the Empire State Building.
Oh, those are bad movies. Speaking of bad movies, let's talk more about Genisys. Although I like this bad movie. So after like the whole crazy recreating the first and second movie really does get going, we do start spending time with Kyle and Sarah and Pop. So we're kind of saving Pop to the end of this thing because he's kind of the best part of it. But they do some.
What about the opening though? The opening was pretty
well,
good.
That's where I'm getting at. So
Okay,
they
okay.
do something with Kyle's character that I think was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
They open with the Future War, but it's far more like the James Cameron Future War, unlike the Christian Bale one, which was definitely the right call. So seeing that with like modern effects was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I really liked the Future War stuff because it felt like that Future War that we've seen glimpses of, and we spend a bit more time in there. We see the prisons, and I like the sort of like the way they infiltrate it, where they've got the dead Ender, but then the Ender outside is like, oh, it's non-functional, and immediately it's just like, well, that's clearly rebels, open fire. I love that whole sequence.
It's really cool. And then I love the way that it's done where it kind of recontextualizes the first movie in just a way. Like, and you don't have to take it that way if you don't want to, but you can, and it works. Of when Kyle was sent back, it wasn't like some like long plotting, like, all right, so we have the technology, who's sending him back? All right, now you three, you can go through the trials to figure out. Like, it was just like, oh shit, it's here, and we're in the middle of a situation. Who's going? Go now, go now, go now, go now. So Kyle lands basically still in full combat mentality. Like, he was just in the middle of a war, just found out he might have won the war only if he goes back, and then he lands. And it's like, that completely changes like how, like where his head is at when he lands in the past. And like, that was, in my opinion, the best idea of the movie. Like, that was a really, really good idea.
What I like as well is you see when Kyle and John are talking about what you're gonna do when the war's over, and and he's saying, oh well, use my hands for something other than killing. I'll go back to my parents' farm. And there's this very quick look from John, and it's just like Jason Clarke sells the hell out of that.
He does. He's so good in this.
Shit, I know you're not gonna get to do that, Dad.
I need you to die. But it's such a good, like, Jason Clarke as John Connor is as good as Jai Courtney is bad as Kyle Reese.
Yeah.
And that's saying something, because Kyle Reese is a rough character in this movie. Jason Clarke is like, so good.
This is where I'll drop in right now and say it. They got down to two actors for it, Jai Courtney and Boyd Holbrook, and they went with Jai Courtney. And I'm looking at like the two actors, and it's like Boyd Holbrook is A, is a lot better an actor, and B, he looks more like Michael Biehn. He has a very similar kind of facial structure to Michael Biehn, and he's not.
At the time, Jai Courtney was a more bankable actor. Like, he was doing more. Like, they weren't good, but he was a name. He was a growing name.
So was Boyd Holbrook, but he was a growing name because of Narcos and
not
had Logan come out at this point.
No, Logan was after this, and Logan's what made him a bigger name.
Yeah, but he was like, I'm sorry, it's a Terminator film. No one's turning up for Jai Courtney to a Terminator film.
No. And Jai Courtney hadn't fallen into his own yet. Like, I watch Jai Courtney now, and he's a different actor than he was then. Like, he is a much, much better actor now. He's fun to watch now. Like, back here, it just felt like he hadn't really found his voice yet. Like, so I don't take too many shots at him anymore, because I'm like, oh, you just weren't there yet. And I'm not going to knock you for not being there yet, because I think he's incredibly entertaining now. But
it's kind of like the Sam Worthington thing of like, he was like, oh, I'm the next biggest thing here. Ha 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 ha. Oh no, I'm not.
And the ego checked real hard when people stopped calling.
Yeah.
But
I think it would have been better with Boyd Holbrook. Personally.
I do too. Yeah.
I think he's and the thing that really annoys me the most is the fact that Jai Courtney is about as buff as Arnold is in the first film, and it's like, Kyle was not that. Kyle was, he was skinny. He came from. He was supposed to be malnourished. Like,
different timelines.
Different
timelines. That's the fun part of that. This you wave away any problem with different timeline.
In this one, Gold's Gym did not get blown up. Is that what you're saying?
That's right. Yep.
Yeah.
In the future, they're just like, man, robots suck. Let's lift some more.
In the future, humans are swole.
There are protein shakes on every street corner.
There's HKs in the sky and protein shakes in the streets.
That's all we had to live by. Food was scarce. No, what I was gonna say is this movie did everything right up until certain things, and even the introduction of Matt Smith was very well done.
It was.
You know, and introducing a new timeline and how things were different was fine, because up until then everything seemed plausible, especially with Skynet being Genisys, because all of those things in terms of, you know, the evil still out there, and, you know, the AI is trying to find a way to salvage itself. I thought that was perfect. And then it just kind of got run of the mill when we got introduced as John Connor as this new type of Terminator. I thought Matt Smith's introduction, even if they would have kept it as small of a role as they did and they would have played it out differently, I think it would have been fine. But with John Connor, and it just kind of fell apart for me.
I don't mind the John Connor Terminator. I see what you mean, like, because it definitely does feel odd. Yeah. But I think because Jason Clarke is such just an amazingly talented actor, he sells it. So like, it's kind of a dumb idea on paper, and it doesn't really work story wise. Like this whole, like, he's trying to kill his parents, but he knows they're his parents, but he's also not John Connor, but he also is John Connor. Like, it's the funny thing is, and we'll talk a little bit about more next week, a lot of ideas in this movie they try again next week and try to pawn off like they didn't. But like, even like the human robot thing that's a major crux of the next movie started here with John Connor. Yeah. And it's like they do it better next week. I don't like the movie as much, but they do like those ideas a little better. But I don't think they're necessarily bad ideas in either place. It's just, how do you use it? And making John Connor, this character that we've known since the very first Terminator, even though he wasn't in it, like the hero, and then turn him into the villain. It's like, I can see that really selling in like a boardroom of people trying to buy a movie, and like, oh, we're doing another Terminator. All right, Bill, what do you think? I don't know. I think the last one kind of sucked. We shouldn't do it. What if John Connor's a bad guy? Oh, what was that? Yeah, okay. That's a great idea. And like, you can kind of hear like the suits just kind of like, yep. And it's like, maybe we should let this one cook for a minute, because it's not a bad idea. Just don't sprint at it. And I think that's where they ran into the problem, is they just had a good idea and they just bolted for it, because they got Emilia Clarke, who's super hot in Game of Thrones. They got one of her directors from Game of Thrones, and they got Jason Clarke, who's so good. It's like all the right pieces are here, and oh fuck, we fumbled it.
But it's it is a good idea. You know, it's because
that's because Jai Courtney was there. It's like, oh, Jai Courtney's he's landed on the pile.
He fucked up the hot potato.
Fuck, he's talking.
I think it could have been executed really well. The concept isn't even that he is a bad guy, full stop. It's more like he got infected by Skynet in some sense, and in some way he's trying to cause like a singularity where everybody merges. Well, you know, so it's still a bad guy thing, but his character his framing made sense of just like, look, we can stop this war. You merge with us, and then we'll be together, and we can close the loop. And it's just so happens that, you know, people don't want to do that. Yeah. But I don't think he quite nailed it in acting the part. And I think it's just, with the movie being as jumbled as it is, it couldn't stick the landing.
Yeah.
I think that one of the issues is like people are going in and saying, well, John Connor's not the bad guy. John Connor is the savior. And it's like, well, is it actually John Connor? Because we see he's been infected with something. And I'm pretty sure, like, he says that he was killed or something.
I don't think he says he was killed.
I think it was more like I thought it was like he was dying, and Skynet sort of took advantage of it, or one of the Terminators.
Something like that, maybe. Yeah. But it's basically like, is this actually the John Connor that we already know? Or is this, you know, to reference The Last of Us, is when the cordyceps gets you, are you still the same person, or are you know, you've been infected by that, and you are no longer the same person, you've got a different outlook. So is that what Skynet did to John Connor? They infected him and reprogrammed his brain and basically bent him to their will, and it's not really John Connor anymore, it's Skynet in a John Connor suit.
Yeah, it's there's an ongoing theme in these movies of like what makes a person, right? Yeah. And I think they were trying to toy with that the same way that they tried and failed in Salvation. It's just somebody is going to nail it someday. It's just not going to be these people.
No.
And I'll say it
Yeah.
again, John Connor is the problem in this series. He is not the savior, he's the problem.
Oh yeah,
Well,
yeah,
quite literally in this one.
yeah.
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe they're like, well, this whole idea of like this one guy being the savior, it's a bit of a problem. Hey, here's an idea. Let's
That's
make
all right. The
him
next movie
problem.
takes care of that.
The one thing I do want to throw out about this movie, that this has been a time traveling sci-fi romp since the very first movie. This is the first one, in my opinion, that really leans into the whole time travel nature of it. And I'm not saying for better or worse. It's interesting that it took this long for someone to be like, what if they time traveled more than once in the movie? Like, what if they jumped around and saw the ramifications of what they actually had? Like I really like the J.K. Simmons character in this. He doesn't get to do a lot. He's basically got rid of so
good.
quick, but
Yeah.
he's so good in the movie. And like, you get the character when he's younger, when he sees the people, and then they jump to 2017, and it ruined his life seeing them back in the 80s. And now in 2017, he's an alcoholic. He's had problems, and he's been talking about these people from the future his whole career. And now they're here, and he's like, It's like you get to see that joy of like that vindication.
I mean, he's basically Mulder.
Yeah,
Like he's gone full blown like Fox Mulder.
I want to believe.
Yeah. Oh, I should have said that. He should have said that at one point.
It would have been better if his last name was Mulder, not Mulder.
I don't even know what his name is, and all my notes are just called him J.K. Simmons because he just felt like even like when he's speaking, it kind of feels like it's just J.K. Simmons ad-libbing most of it. Like it doesn't really feel like, written lines, and I think it's just because of how good an actor he is, he can deliver stuff and make it feel like a ad-lib thing. And I think that's how much of that was actually written, how much of that was off the cuff.
And just to take a pause, just to sing his praises, what an amazingly talented actor. He can play like a schlubby doofus that no one likes and the most horrifying person you've ever met. He can do them both fantastically well. Like, you watch this movie, then go watch Oz. Like, holy God, same guy, horrifyingly different characters. Amazing actor, just amazing.
And then you look at him in as Commissioner Gordon as well, and it's just like, I don't really have a point past that. It's a different role.
Very different. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're nearing time on this, and we haven't talked about Pops yet, so I feel like we got to move into Pops.
Before we go on to Pops, one thing. So I'm guessing we all know it's Danny Dyson is creating Genisys, and it's like the son of Miles Dyson, and Miles Dyson's still alive. Why the hell did they not bring back Joe Morton? It's a cameo at best. Like, but no, he's still alive. He's not dead. They should have had Joe Morton back. That would have been perfect, because you're looking at this other guy and like, well, who's that? And it's like, oh, hey, Miles. It's like, well, just fucking have the same actor.
Damn it.
Like,
okay, so
if you're gonna do fan service, do fan service.
Yeah.
If you can do it, do it. But now that you mention it, I do have to mention one thing we skipped over, which I think is another one of the best ideas in this movie, executed very poorly because they didn't spend any time on it. What a great idea for Skynet to send one of their Terminators back in time, not to kill John Connor, but to build Skynet sooner.
Yeah.
To build itself like a time machine in the past.
To build it better.
To just go and like prepare for the war before the war starts. It's an idea none of the other Terminator movies thought about, and they do it. It's a great idea, executed pretty, but it's a really cool idea in this movie.
Yeah, because it's like, it's building the liquid metal components. It's building the time machine, like, so that it has that technology sooner. Yeah. And it's just like, oh, well, we don't have it yet. It's just kind of like, we need the processing power. And it's kind of like, yep. We know where that's going to come from.
We know in the beginning of the war, it's basically humans versus these big tanky robots we had. What if it's those humans who don't know shit versus T-1000s? I think we're going to win a lot faster.
Really and it shows Skynet continuing to evolve and change its mission based off of win and fail state, right? Because the first movie, it's we're going to kill Sarah Connor. The second movie is we're going to kill John Connor, and third movie is we're going to kill all his generals. And it's just win, fail state. Okay, try a new strategy. We're just going to mess them up real bad when we get to that point.
New strategy. We're going to mess him up in the future turn him, send him back in time, and get him to build Skynet.
Yeah, it's a cool idea.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
Well,
so
where were you
Pops.
when they wrote this?
I feel like we should go back and be like, right, okay, you suits, you sit down, you listen to us. We will save this film.
You are so
What are you
close
talking
to
about?
having a good movie.
See
This
the
close.
script? Horseshit.
What are you
Matt
talking about?
Smith,
It's
you're
not
the
coming
guy.
in. We've come here from the future.
Okay, so who's coming back to 2013 to save this film?
Me.
I'm busy that day.
Well, fuck y'all. I'll be really famous. I'll be the guy who reinvented the Terminator franchise.
I'm very happy for
Hold
you.
on, I'm looking for the news. Nope, didn't work. Anyhow,
Oh, look, I'm disappearing.
Alternate
Oh.
timelines, Brian.
yeah, it's some alternate timeline. I'll believe that. All right, let's talk about Pops really quick, and as quick as we can.
Let's not rush it though, because he
Well,
is fucking awesome.
Yeah, but we do have someone keeps interjecting with, well, before we do that, so we're running out of time because of someone, whoever that someone is. I won't call them out, Matt. So Matt knows that I won't call Matt out. So let's
I
talk
was
about
really
Pops.
hoping it was actually Joel.
Oh, you know me, famous interjector.
This is an evolution of the idea they started in 2 of the Terminator can learn after a certain amount of time. Again, avoiding the idea in 2 of you have to drill into his head and flip the switch, which I think is really annoying because I liked that idea. It's one of my favorite things in 2, but I guess that's gone now for reasons.
But again, maybe they did that before sending him back. We don't know who sent him back as well.
That's fair.
That's the thing. It's like, this one is clearly being sent back, not just to save Sarah, but to raise her. Yeah. So it's like, well, we need him to be able to learn. So let's flip that switch now.
And that's a very different job. And I think Arnold was smart enough to use that job to make his Terminator different. And you get this robot that is clearly a robot, but is trying to be human. So he has these like slight moments of like almost jealousy, of embarrassment. Like he starts having actual feelings, and it's fun seeing like Arnold stretch his like acting muscles, because he can be a very good actor, but playing the Terminator he's played for years and having the moment where like he's loading guns with Kyle and his hand starts shaking and he just bashes it on the ground or bashes it on the table like fucking thing. It's like
it's that same hand that he got damaged in 1984 as well. And it's like it's clear that you're like, oh, he's repaired it as best he can, but he's getting like Terminator arthritis.
Yeah.
And I like that because they're both looking at each other and it's like this almost like this Mexican standoff thing of like, you keep switching between the two where they're just loading the mags and you got the music in the background, and it's just like I love that sequence.
That line that becomes a refrain, I'm old, not obsolete.
Yeah, I love
it's a good line. Old, not very obsolete. Good line.
And he handles it well. Like I really enjoyed just kind of the Pops comedy in this. Like it's something that I'm going to bring up a lot next week. Of they lost their sense of humor next week beyond a few lines they gave to the quippy Terminator for some fucking stupid reason.
Thanks, James Cameron.
Yeah, you'll get my opinion of Dark Fate next week if you can't tell it already. But there are a few kind of fun lines with the Arnold in this one, and it makes the character still both believable as the Terminator, but also kind of new and different. Like I like the whole they have their whole plan ready of we're going to kill the T-1000, we're going to time jump to 1997, turns into 2017, and then we're going to start fighting the end war there, and it's going to be great. We got a plan. And as it's going, the plan starts falling apart because Arnold has to melt his arm essentially to stop the T-1000, so he can't time jump anymore. And I love that. Like, so what are you going to do? How are you going to get there? I'll go the long way around. And it's like,
yes,
it's like, I love that. It's so cool. And then you get little glimpses into what he did during his long way around. And for me, I would have watched that whole movie instead of this one. Just Arnold as a robot lost in time. Like, what do I do?
I like as well. It's like one of the things that he did was he worked construction on Genisys until he was laid off. And like, wasn't there a big thing around 2015 of like construction workers getting laid off as well? I kind of feel like it's like, oh, nice bit of social commentary there as well.
Like, I want that scene so bad of somebody firing Arnold Schwarzenegger's Terminator. Sorry, Bill, you're not needed on the set anymore. Okay. And just staring at him like, I'm sorry. We can give you a pension. Do you need a pension? Like, how about severance? Severance? Does that work for you? Okay. Stop
Which
staring at
Halloween?
me.
Which Halloween movie was it where Michael Myers gets scolded away from?
Oh,
The
Thanks,
greatest
Russell.
moment in all Halloween movies? Yes.
Please tell me it was it Buster Rhymes?
Yes, Buster Rhymes.
Yep.
Yeah, please tell me that it was Buster Rhymes who fired him.
Get out of here.
Get out of here, you motherfucker!
Get in
You
through your
fucking
big
fired.
metal skull.
Tink, tink, tink. How dumb are you? I'm not dumb. Like, yeah, I want that scene. It would have been great. But even that, and like,
Maybe
just
that's
like
what Terminator 7 should be.
Terminator 7 is Arnold lost in time.
You could just call it Terminator 7, Lost in Time.
Now I'm just thinking what a wheelchair-bound Terminator would be like.
Don't threaten him with a good time.
It'd be funny. But the other thing they do with Pops in this one, which was, again, the only movie to even think about trying this idea, is at the end of the movie when he has to do like the age-old, like, he's the old Terminator who's going to die while trying to fight the new Terminator because he's way outmatched. All of that happens, but when he dies, he gets chucked into a pit of T1000 goo.
Yeah.
And that upgrades him. And I'm still annoyed we didn't get the sequel to this with Arnold as a T1000. Like, that's such a cool idea.
It's a great idea, and it's the only Terminator film as well where the Terminator protector, the protector that is sent back, essentially lives. And I love that idea. And it's like, why were people assholes and said how basically caused this film to fail? Because it's not. It's honestly, I'm thinking this might be in my number 3 spot on my favorites.
Wow.
Okay.
It is fighting for number 3 on mine. It's fighting with number 3 for mine, but it is it's in that fight. Huh. That thing fell over. But I think we've said pretty much everything we can say about this. We didn't really talk much about Emilia Clarke, which I feel bad about because she did do a very good job in this. It's just that she did her job in this, which made her also not kind of stand out because everything else was so huge around her.
I think the thing with like Emilia Clarke is she was very subtle in like the performance that she did. Like, she's got this knowledge that Kyle Reese is like, she and Kyle Reese have to mate, as it were.
Did you mate yet? Stop.
Yeah.
So good.
And then you've got like these little subtle moments where Kyle's talking about, I can't remember exactly what he's talking about, but it's the camera is on Sarah, and like it's just her reaction to what he's saying, and it's like her knowing that, and then the whole thing of like, where she goes off on him and is like, where he's like, why didn't you tell me this? And it's like, because you die, okay? We fall in love and you die 48 hours later. And I liked that. It's like, you can tell that there's some sort of like, not so much angst, but there's issues there that she doesn't want to fall in love with this guy, because if she falls in love with him, she has the sense that he's going to die because of that. And it's like, everyone who she has loved, apart from Pops, has died. Family is dead, and it's all because of these stupid fucking Terminators. And I think she does a really good job with that, and because it's not overblown, it's not over the top, and I think it's kind of, when you watch this film with a more critical eye, I think you see the more subtle elements of it more. Whereas if you're just watching it for entertainment, it's kind of overshadowed by, oh, look at this giant CGI helicopter chase, and oh, look at this bus chase on the Golden Gate Bridge. And I think you kind of like, yeah. Should I shut up?
Yeah, that'd be great. No, you're making good points, or I would have interrupted you a long time ago, because I think everything you said was right. And Emilia Clarke sells it well, but still.
I think it's not her fault, but I think this movie is more concerned about Kyle Reese's story than Sarah Connor. I mean, Kyle Reese is kind of the main. They focus a lot on his flashbacks or divergent timeline memories a lot in a way to try to loop it together, and it overshadows her, and it's not her fault.
Yeah. I had read a Reddit subreddit Terminator theory that was just like one of those, would this movie have been better if he got back and Sarah Connor was already dead? Like if he got back and the Terminators had succeeded and now he is the problem because he's the only one in the past who could stop the future because he landed there. Like, would that have been a more interesting film? It's like there is something there that could be done.
Then you lose John Connor.
Yeah, then you lose everything. But that also would go into that moment later in the film with Jason Clarke where he's like, I think I can kill you. I think I can do all this stuff. I think we are marooned in time. We fucked up so bad that we're just in our own little bubble just fucking shit up. And like that could have still worked. There is something there, but I don't want to lose Emilia Clarke in this. And I think she did a really good job with what she had. But I do think if they want to take some bolder swings, they could have gone that route.
I think she
thought
stepped
exercise.
Yeah.
She stepped in the role and was exactly what she needed to be. She played it off perfectly, whether it's commanding, getting the, come with me if you want to live now, or, when she's having the conversations about having sex with Kyle Reese with Pops. I mean, it just was very well played. And I think the relationship between Emilia Clarke and Arnold was one of the best things about this movie.
It's one of those things where, like, I don't get much into celebrities' personal lives because I just don't care, but they had such good chemistry. I hope they're buds.
Yes.
Like,
actually, there is, so they're both Arnold and Emilia Clarke were on Graham Norton together when they were promoting this film, and you can see there is a friendship there.
Yeah,
like in the interview and stuff
I hope they're still friends because they played off each other so well. Like it was cool.
I'd like to see them maybe they'll do Predator 3 or something, and have Emilia Clarke in it, and Arnold can come back as Dutch or something.
I mean, why not? Right? Fuck it, why not? All right, let's move into favorite moments of this thing. I'm gonna go first because it's been my favorite moment since the first time I saw it. I actually quote this quite often, and I'd forgotten this came from Genisys, and now I feel bad a little for quoting Genisys as often as I do, but whatever. It's still a really, really good moment. It's when John Connor has been outed as the Terminator. He's the bad guy, and he's like makes his last ploy after talking to his quote unquote mom and dad, like, just join us. Can you just join us and everything's gonna be fine? And Kyle looks at him with his gun on him and goes, the answer is no. And you get this look on Jason Clarke's face, and it's just, he does it so well. He's like, do you hear that, Kyle? That was the dice roll. And then the action scene starts. It's like, that's such a good fucking moment. Like, it's a solid line. He delivers it well. It's like, I love this. Whoever wants to go next.
I'll go. So it's one of the action scenes later on. I think it might be on the bridge. Arnold's arrival on that scene where he does the drift and then he just steps out of the car while the car is drifting. It is such a cool looking moment. It might be one of the coolest moments he has in the entire franchise. So good.
It's in the police car, isn't it? Where he's literally landed on the bonnet as well, and then like his head's gone through the window. Just get out.
But this is he's the evolved Terminator. It's hello. Get out.
Oh yeah, that was it. Yeah, it's like hello. Oh no, nice. I've even written it down. Nice to see you.
Yeah.
Get out. Brilliant.
Yeah, this thing, like when it has its comedy, it does it well. Looking at you, Dark Fate. Say that for next week.
Well, it's got dark in the title. It's got to be dark.
Yeah. So does Darkwing Duck. Anyhow, who's
I'll
next?
go. Everything J.K. Simmons was in, the way he chewed the scenery, it was perfect, but it could all be summed up in his one line, goddamn time traveling robots covering up their goddamn tracks. I knew it. Perfect.
I really hope that's actually in the script and he had to read that and go, I could sell that.
Yeah, I got two moments. So I'm gonna do them both because why not? First one is just a J.K. Simmons line, which is just brilliant. It just goes, blows the door clean off. For people who can't do that themselves. Because he's just looking at Arnold. But then the other one is I like at the end where the Terminator is basically making this sacrifice play, and he's like, "Kyle Reese, protect my Sarah," and it's just like that to me was like while I was watching again, it's like it was reminiscent of Terminator 2 in the fact of the end bit, like actually kind of like wrenching a little bit, and I was like got a little choked up, and I was like, "Oh my god, that I didn't expect to feel." An emotion from Terminator 5. And it is, it's a really well done moment as well, because you have Emilia Clarke selling the hell out of her screaming at Pops, like saying no, because it's like another parent basically is dying.
Yeah.
And it's so good. And yeah, I am very disappointed that we didn't get the sequel to this.
I am too. Like the troubled as this movie might have been, I'll even say the same for last week's with Salvation. Like we saw their idea. It would have been interesting to see what they did if they had the time to expand on it. Like Salvation might have got only worse. There's a very real possibility, but he could have learned a shitload from that and made a better sequel. Same thing with Genisys. Like I think Alan Taylor, I don't know why I'm such an Alan Taylor's camp, but I really am. It's like I listen to him talk about Game of Thrones, and I'm like, this guy can direct. He is good at this.
He has done some quality episodes on a lot of good HBO shows.
Yeah, like he's not a bad director. I think it's just a matter of he's a TV director, and studios think they can bully them, and they're not wrong because they usually get their way. But you put somebody like that on a show like this, and they don't have the strength to stand up and go like, "You're wrong. Let me see my vision through." Or they just don't have the rope to do it. Like, who knows? Like behind the scenes.
That's the problem is all like the idea that like they look at them as like, oh, it's a TV director, we can make them do what we want. But now TV is becoming so much more cinematic.
Yeah.
Like,
and you look at his episodes, they're incredibly cinematic. He's a good director.
You look at like compare like a lot of TV series, like your HBO shows and stuff like The Last of Us, for example. Compare that cinematically to the big Marvel blockbusters. There's a hell of a lot more artistic direction in The Last of Us than there is in the Marvel films. Haven't even seen it yet.
It's very dumb fun. Very, very dumb, but fun. But so dumb. Just so dumb.
I don't think you're selling it here.
It's so dumb. I loved watching it.
Sounds like a great Disney Plus movie.
I can watch the Corey Stoll MODOK any day of the week because it's so insanely stupid, and everyone in the movie knows it. It makes it really fun. Anyhow, let's move into plugs. This show and every other show on the ATH Network. Be sure to check out athpod.com, where we have this Damage Boost, Demon Days, shows from Joel. I'll let him talk about it in a second, because I have to also mention that ATH might be coming back. We're in the early talks of bringing it back. It'll be a little different. It'll be a monthly show instead of a weekly show. Different co-hosts, but the early conversations have started. Matt's not been a part of those conversations yet. That's not because we don't like Matt. It's because of the timing. We have to record it, and he lives in the wrong country.
I don't care. I got up at 4 o'clock in the morning to record in the past.
Then Matt, we'll talk to you, but it's
Matt just needs to stay in the Binge Buddies lane where he belongs.
I would love to bring Matt on the ATH. It's literally the fucking country he lives in makes it difficult. This is an audio podcast.
Hey, we've got rid of Boris Johnson now. We're not that bad.
I just mean your time. You can't fix time. Anyhow, that's all my plugs. Joel,
I can try, damn it. I can try.
And now Terminator's actually going to happen.
Yes. This is how Terminator
all because
starts.
Matt wants to be on ATH.
Afterthoughts Book Club with my wife Kelly. We're doing Lord of the Rings right now. Super GG Radio, a video game podcast about video games and all things adjacent. No, you know what? Rhythm Sprout. That is my game recommendation of the week. Rhythm Sprout.
Rhythm Sprout. What's that on?
Everything.
Okay, perfect. Ryan, what about you?
You can catch me on the Front Row Network, where I do a lot of different things. We wrapped up our Oscar coverage. I don't even know if the podcast of us is still alive.
I think you know.
Yeah, so well, the show's over, so it's definitely dead in that aspect. But you can really catch me on Front Row Flashbacks, where we talk about movies from 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. And we have got Old Boy coming up that we're going to be reviewing, not the Josh Brolin Olsen one, but we're talking about the original Korean version.
Oh, you're talking about the bad one, not the good one?
Which one's that?
I'm just kidding.
The American one's the bad one.
It's so bad. They tried.
They did.
Matt, anything from you?
Yes, I've got there will be events coming soon, I think. A review of Boom Bandits Volume 2, which is an indie comic that I know someone who knows someone who wrote it, and they basically put me onto it, and it's really cool. And it's very kind of dystopian future, got that very 2000 AD art style, kind of like really punky elements to it. It's great. Yeah, so read the review and pick it up if you fancy it. There's the review for Volume 1 is up somewhere. I mean, it's on the ATH site. It's not somewhere else random. It's on there. Just search Boom Bandits and you'll find it.
There we go. All right. Thank you, everyone, so much for listening. This has been a really fun episode. And be sure to tune in next week when we talk about my favorite movie, Terminator Dark Fate. It will be a very fun conversation, even if I don't like the movie. We'll leave it at that. All right. Bye. Bye.
I can defend it.
Bye.
Bye.
If I can defend
Bye.
Genisys, you can defend Dark Fate. We'll do great.
Okay.
I'll be back. Old, not obsolete.
That's how you end it.
There you go.